how do you manage both career? Because mountain biking is a passion of yourself, but also became a job. You're making an income from it. You got the support from some partners to help you realize this video, because making videos is very expensive. They take a lot of time, a lot of commitment, and so you're starting to make a career with mountain biking. How can you manage a career that's as demanding as the one of a firefighter, plus riding your bike professionally?
Do you want the honest answer or the fluffy answer?
give me the honest raw answer.
I mean, honestly, like, this is a subject that this may be the first time I've actually talked about it too much, but I think that I balanced it pretty well, or thought I balanced it pretty well in the past. But up until recently, I have to admit that I have fully lost the balance. I last year had lost one of my closest mountain biking buddies, Andrew Chu. Had a few really bad calls at work, and I think this is something a lot of first responders can relate to. But my brain, I feel like I could physically feel my brain broke. And at the fire department, we have access to a critical incident management team, and I had to use it. I just couldn't do it anymore. The stress of these things, and two of the calls that I went to that were really bad. One involving a fatal motorcycle accident that I don't know. I don't really know how else to put it other than my brain just fractured. I just was done.
And that was the accident that happened right before you flew to Quebec with Johan.
Yeah, and I was just hanging on by a thread there, and I went out to shoot a video with Johan. And then Johan had a big crash, and I was just at that point, that was when I made the phone call and realized there was many things leading up to this, but that was when I kind of reached out for help, and I just realized I wasn't really doing so good anymore. So yeah, I booked off work. Sorry, this is a bit of a harder topic for me to talk about. I don't feel like I have all the words for it, but yeah, I did therapy, chatted with a lot of people, and I got psychological assessments through WCB and all this stuff. And
what is WCP?
So the Work Safe Compensation Board. So, you work a job in construction, you break your wrist, you bang your thumb, you have wage loss, you use the Workers' Compensation Board. In British Columbia, it's called presumptive. So if you book off due to mental health issues, they recognize that. You don't have to overly prove it. It's hey, I had this bad call, I need time off, and they accept it. But I went through the process with that, which is so amazing, because that is not something that's always been there for first responders. It's generally been just put it in the feelings box and stamp down the feelings box, close it, and make more room for feelings. Put it away, don't talk about it. But anyways, so I went through this, and I don't like to use the term diagnose, because I honestly feel like every first responder would have this, but they diagnosed me with PTSD, chronic stress disorder, and depression. That's what they said. So I almost didn't need to hear it. I already knew it. But yeah, that it was interesting to hear, and I've been slowly kind of picking up the pieces ever since then. I thought one thing, the way they put it with first response, is that there is a tent, an event tent with 4 pegs, and you flick out one, you're still standing. You flick out the other one, and you're crippled. The other analogy I found really interesting was when you start your career, you put on a backpack. Your backpack may be fully empty with no issues, or you may have a few rocks in there already. Every bad call you have, every death, every personal family conflict, everything you have, another rock, keeps getting heavier. Things get harder until you're eventually brought to your knees and you can't go on anymore. So that is kind of where I felt. And yeah, that's where I got to. I booked off. I was off for 2 months, and where I found reprieve is riding with my friends, the community, and finding more people that I can relate to. So it's been a big push for me now, advocating for first responder mental health, and not just first responder, but everybody, because the things that I went through, I feel a large portion of the world also go through. And what I came through the other end realizing is, have your friends like yourself, your community, your people that you trust, and do stuff you love. So, bit of a heavy subject for a podcast, but that's
something that people want to hear. And I feel, as you mentioned, it's obviously firefighters, but so many other jobs, nurses, doctors, policeman, first responder. Like, it's a lot of work. Obviously, firefighters usually is the first one called onto an accident. But it's a job that I couldn't see myself doing for that reason. Like, I don't think I could deal with seeing people in distress. I
feel like you could. Like, the way that it was put to me is you're not having an abnormal reaction to a normal situation. You're having an extremely normal reaction to a very abnormal reaction. There's nothing special about me. I've just put myself in that position, and I have to learn how to deal. And that's why when people ask me about the balance, I had it. I don't have it now. I'd like to find it. So I'm working on finding the balance again.
I feel like I know you really well. But when you're on your bike, you always seem happy.
So happy.
And I feel like going on like chill rides just with your friends. I'm not talking about like scaring yourself on a massive feature, but just having fun on your bike is a way for you to distract yourself from the work trauma.
It's so important, man. Like, you need to have that outlet, and it's what I truly love doing. And when I go building or biking, like Johan put it so well, like as soon as you start spinning those pedals and going up, it's like the worries evaporate. They come back sometimes when you finish your ride, but it's so important to have those activities and the community.
And so, as a professional as a firefighter, obviously you see a lot of injuries from mountain biking, skiing, or other sports. But so you are getting called for work to help people in distress following a mountain bike accident or whatever it is. How do you find the strength yourself to go and do that same sport when you just helped out someone with a critical injury from mountain biking?
That's a really, really good question, actually. It can be difficult. It can be difficult to work in your backyard when you're seeing these things that hit so close to home. Like I said, my good friend Andrew Chu that passed away in a mountain biking accident, I sat there and I reflected. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? So, like, for me, the motivation and the desire just has to come from within and be for me only. Like, there can't be I don't risk for anybody other than myself. And something I've thought about quite a lot is, like, when people, and I'm not calling anybody out, but like if I say I love pushing my limits and pushing the sport and doing things, a lot of the times I have to stop and think that I'm just doing it to feel good from validation of people telling me that I'm sick through likes and clicks and stuff like that. Like, that happens. And sometimes I have to stop and realize, like, what am I risking it for? Am I doing it because the clip is going to be amazing and I just want people to say, oh yeah, man, that was super awesome. And then 2 days later it's forgotten about, and then I'm continually trying to get that? Or am I doing it because I truly love it? And I've thought about this, and I truly love it.